Hello, sports fans around the world, and welcome to the NRL SuperCoach BDE Podcast. We are the best draft experts, hopefully bringing you better vision tonight from all the round 3 waiver wire action. With me this evening, as always, in big capital letters is Toddy! Toddy.
Yeah, why am I in big capital letters there? Hello, mates. Yeah. Look, the quality of your video is definitely sharpened, mate. But the person in it hasn't. Anyway, mate, happy to be here tonight, mate. Got Simo back on the potty too, so it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, but he's not in capitals, mate, so it's not as exciting.
No,
so I'll throw to Simon.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I really shouldn't be in capitals compared to Todd, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Keep me how I am. But look, it's good to be back, boys. Having the week off last week was very frustrating with no internet. So
yeah, mate. Rough chat.
Yeah, credit to the people that reached out to me on Twitter and just sort of checking what was going on. It was much to do about nothing. It was literally just the net was down. So house was all good. So yeah, appreciate the love, but yeah, it was not a lot to talk about really. It was just unfortunate.
Fair play, mate. Got a beautiful community going here. Hello to our live listeners who've tuned in. Always good to have you aboard. Feel free to fire away with questions in the chat whenever you are. And for those who've just seen me for the first time, you're welcome. No longer a pixelated blob like a GoldenEye character, Simo tells me. So good from him. All right, listeners. We're diving in this week. And look, very interested to see the importance we're going to place on this very first game of the round. Looms to be a blockbuster, gentlemen. The Storm looking absolutely unstoppable in round 1, then hit a bye, versus the Penny Panthers coming off a shock loss. Look, Dane Laurie, boys, just tell me, why is he the number 1 claim this week with a bullet? Toddy.
Oh, I mean, it's not even close. Bit of a groin strain for Dylan Edwards. You're not too sure how long groin lasts, but we've seen when Dane Laurie's part of this Panthers side, like he's just put on absolute monsters of scores. So easy number 1 this week. It's not even, you don't even think about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, we don't even need that anymore, Simo, other than pre-season, mate. I know you were talking up Dane Laurie as someone who should be rostered, mate. I remember that, and absolutely you've nailed that one, sir. So very well played. Do you think if you were the Dylan Edwards owner, knowing that Laurie is going to be your best replacement and you didn't own him, is he someone that you would potentially give up a little bit of value for just to make sure you don't fall too far behind?
I think so. Like if you're looking at your waiver wire, it's Dylan Edwards, and it's Dane Laurie and nothing else really out there, especially in the fullback landscape. There was a few rumours that Buller might have been out, so you could have gone to Heath Mason, but I think there's a lot of leagues out there where you'd be looking at Dane Laurie with bugger all replacements outside of him. So if that's the situation and you haven't got any options, I think making a trade's going to be your number 1 option there. Having a crack at Dane Laurie, I'd be okay paying a little bit more to get him because, unfortunately for Dylan Edwards, like a groin's probably going to linger for potentially the season, just about. So it's one of those ones. If I owned Edwards, I'd be okay paying a fair bit to get that handcuff because it was probably it's turned out to be a mistake by not having him as a handcuff, despite the fact we were on him in the preseason. But it's not too late to rectify that. I think it's okay to pounce now if you can. That is, people who own him are obviously going to be seeking a bit of a ransom because you're going to be a pretty decent play these next few weeks. Especially next week because their matchups sort of turn really nice after this week. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to
flex play.
Great flex play. Yeah, really good.
Yep, absolutely. So that's an easy one, boys. Looking down the rest of the list, I noticed that Blaze Talangi is sitting there looking mighty juicy in the 18 jersey. I'm not going to lie, Todd Mound. I see you've taken the capitals off your name, which I'm really not happy about. I was going to play on that pretty much the whole potty, Toddy. Blaze Talangi, mate, it's time. If he's not owned, if he was dropped, I'd be picking him up pretty quick smart, and I actually think he's waiverable, mate. I think Jack Cole's time in the 6 is coming to an end very shortly.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I know Blaze played in the centres in the reserve grade on the weekends. That's pretty interesting. And Trent Tolai played in the halves, so that's pretty interesting. But you do think that Blaze Talangi is the next man up, and he's got a massive ceiling.
Yep, fair enough. At least minimum owned. Shouldn't be sitting out there on free agency. Brad Schneider to the Pine is really nothing else there. And Scotty Sorensen with Papali'i back on the bench. Not a lot to see there. You're kind of just holding on to both of those guys. And oh dear. Oh dear. He's listeners, someone named Todd Lloyd said, F that bloke in white is sexy. Wow. Tickets.
Wow.
Absolute tickets. Loved it too. Look at him. Look at the smile. Someone's got to say it to him, right?
I'm glad he can say it to himself.
Not gonna lie,
Banter.
I was filthy that wasn't me in the Knights kit at the end. Absolutely filthy. All right.
Yeah. Just to hijack the whole podcast to tell you that you're a bloody good looker.
This will be funny.
Listeners. Hang on, listeners. Immortalized on YouTube is Todd giving himself a rap. That is brilliant.
Guy.
All right, lads, staying on it. I think Sorensen and Papali'i, I believe you should hang on to them because if either of them go down, Sorensen's injury record has been very spotty, and obviously Papali'i's gone down. Chance one of them emerges for a 65-minute plus role and actually has some value. That is really it for me. Pretty hard to fire up Casey McLean or Isaac Tungo this week, I would think. To'o Alamotti, Dane Laurie get a run. Over to Melbourne. Obviously looked fantastic. And, Simo, let's not spend too long on this, but Grant Anderson, mate, like when he's played, he's actually been pretty damn good for Supercoach.
Yeah, he has. He'd be the name if I was to pick someone up as a bench stash, possibly. You don't want to be playing them this week, I wouldn't have thought. But I'm okay if you have to, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Is probably how I'd phrase that. But
yeah,
for future weeks, if I haven't heard the reason why Woolbrick's out, but I wouldn't be shocked. I was concussion with it.
Just a concussion, mate. Just out for a week.
I think Anderson's one of those ones. Then yeah, I'm probably not going to go there this week, to be perfectly honest, because if it is just a 1 week play, but he'll be someone we talk about a fair bit. Whenever you see Coates either go to Origin or get injured, or in this case, Warbrick, we'll talk about him a fair bit because whenever he's in there, he's going to be someone that we're keen on looking at. Just that this is probably the only matchup where he's not like a surefire start.
That's if Penrith get their defensive line sorted, mate. They've given up a lot of points recently to teams, a lot worse on paper than the Storm. But I hear you. I certainly get it. 1 week play, though, I'm okay with him as a forced CTW. I think there's a red-hot chance that he gets his this week. That's really it, mate. With Farlongo out with concussion himself, Big Nas is on the extended bench. I don't hate the idea of him being a free agent stash just because if he comes back in, he's always a guy that can hit some upside, and I can see some juicy matchups against those lesser defensive teams where he's going to barge over with even 40 minutes of game time. So not a huge recommendation, but not too bad. All right, that really is it for a couple of pretty settled sides there. I imagine the Storm get the chocolates, but surely Penrith actually show up a bit there, boys. They'll show a bit more.
Gotta be better.
The only other mention is we talked about Brian To'o potentially appearing on the left of the Penrith attack, but he's actually stuck out to the right, and he had an absolute Barry Crocker on the weekend. Like, that was a shocking game by his standards, albeit one absolutely fantastic try to himself where he kicked around the corner. I hate it. I'd love him to be on the left for his value. I really would. So I'm not as hype rest of season about Brian To'o sitting on the right as I was. All right. This is a tale of two teams who cause big upsets. Up the Waz, says the Todbian. Talk us through it, old son.
Oh, boys, actually, I just booked my grand final tickets today. So, look, we're riding the Waz all the way, baby. No, like, we were pretty good. Like, I really enjoyed watching us play. Lukey Metcalf came into his zone. We were good. But, I mean, Manly, apart from that first 15 minutes, we're pretty bloody average. So, this will be actually a bit of a good game. Both teams on a high. So, looking forward to this one. It is at Go Media Stadium. We love to sell it out. So, I think, again, I think we can go and win this one.
Nawatatina Wasi, mate. What a beast. Absolutely looked phenomenal. And I've absolutely nailed that pronunciation again. I can see he's the real deal. He may not have the defensive chops just yet, but geez, I like the way he gives that offload. I think he is incredibly playable here as a third CTW in this matchup, as is Tupou and Robert Toya. Get amongst it this week.
Good shout.
Tane Tuapiki did hit some upside in the last. I don't think the Roosters' defense has got much starch to it, and I know they've got Spencer Leniu back, but I'm more convinced that's better for the go forward of the Roosters than it is defensively. Simo, is that your read?
Yeah, probably. I like Tuapiki. Hey, I think he's got that look about him that you want to have him on your bench at least, if not playing him, but at least on your roster. Because yeah, like the way he looks, at least last week, like he was surging through, like when he got dump offs and just general carries back, he just sort of hit that gap as if he was going to break through. And that's what you love to see in young players. Like he's not the biggest, but just that sort of speed into power, running as if he's going to go through the line is really good to see. And I'm starting to think that, like, if anything was to happen to Chance, I reckon Tuapiki's probably going to be the next man up over Roger. It's I think I'm ready to say that now.
I'm going to absolutely double down, mate. I think Roger's looking so good on that left wing as well. I think that's where they want him to be, taking carries and finishing plays. I think he looks great there. I think it's probably not long, mate. Even like Chance doesn't look great. Let's not even pretend. He played a little bit better in the second half, Todza, like some decent runs of a bit more power, but let's be real, mate. He's just not creating enough, and I think Tuapiki gives you guys a way better shot.
Oh, I totally agree. I just don't think it's going to be Webby's go-to. I think he's locked in with Chante, especially when you win the week before. I think you need to see, unfortunately, the Warriors go real bad, and then for Chance to be the reason why we're going so bad for him to get moved. I'd love to see him go into the centres for Pompey, to be perfectly honest. I know I would too. He can play there and have Tane, and once Dallon's back and have Tane the fullback, but that's just the way it is, and Webby's been back in Chance the last 2 years. So I think Tuapiki's a great pickup for like the Dylan Edwards owners because he's fullback eligible. Really good plug and play.
Yeah, I really like that too. That's a very good shout, actually, mate. Thinking of that, the rest of the potty. It's like you've done this before, old son. Very nice.
Yeah, go me. Also, can I just say, Miranda Niokore, I can't wait for his contract to run out.
Bang average.
Our back row, both. I mean, Capel, I think's lost it too, but that's just my opinion. I think they're both really, really average.
Yeah, you'd love a lay band to emerge there, mate. Labana, I should say.
Would love that.
Now, CHT boys. Look, Todza, that's a good game. You got to give credit where it's due. If the Warriors are going to go well, you feel like some SuperCoach points are almost have to be there for the 5'8", the way that setup works, right? Like, he's going to have to be on the end of something.
Yeah, I can see your logic there. It's just, I've done this before where we've seen Chanel have a couple of really good games and just absolutely flunk. Like, for me, it's still, I still want to wait and see. I know he scored, a 50 and a 70-odd the last 2 weeks, so I understand that. And a 5'8" is really shallow, so if you're getting a guy who's playing and putting up a 50 for you, you're probably pretty happy. But at the same time, like, it's every chance that he goes and flunks next week. Like,
free agent own is probably the level, right? I think that's probably okay. Just to make sure, because he had talent as a youngster, as you know, Todd, and defensively he will hold his own. So if the attack's good, it's his position to lose over TMM.
It's just me, would he be a really good lock? I just feel like he would be.
Not quite big enough, but then I look at like a Maxi.
He's pretty big.
Oh, it's close. It's close. I don't hate your shout.
If you want to get a season in the off season, put on like probably 5 kilos of muscle and I just think he's made for that lock roll. Hey,
you think he's got Aaron Clark covered, mate? Do you?
Well, Aaron Clark actually didn't play the worst on the weekend. So.
He actually didn't. I don't know why. 2 of the biggest Aaron Clark fans out there told me on him. What am I doing? Sorry, Aaron. Good luck to you, fella. Now, onto a player that is much maligned, but we really should start picking up on a trend here, boys, is just pick up Wade Egan and start him in the early season before he gets concussed and injured. He's done this literally the last 3 years in a row. Played an absolute blinder, Todd. His service from dummy half was absolutely
really
outstanding.
Good,
like, really good out in front. Very dangerous, good pickup. Yes, an injury is coming. Write it out. If you need it, hook up. Write it out till it's done. And I'm going to play him over Coruscant this week for that reason. 80 minutes. He's getting 80 minutes. I just don't argue with it. He'll get injured and he'll cost you a win somewhere down the track, though. Just keep that in mind.
100%. There's in-game HIA for Wade every day of the week. But, yeah, I mean, starting over Coruscant's a big call, but, yeah, Talon Silva's taken too many of Coruscant's minutes, in my opinion.
Little bit. I'm hoping that was because they're in cruise mode, the way the Tigers play, but we'll talk about that in a minute as well. I'm going to go an early season buy low. It may be slightly too early, but I would be kicking the tires on one Mitchell Barnett, who started the season quite slowly. I think better times coming as he builds into some fitness as the season rolls on. Just been a little bit of a slow start.
Fair.
So I did mention the Roosters a bit. Shout out to those who did get on and listen to a rare bit of decent advice from me about starting Sandon last week. Just kind of felt he'd be doing enough. He played a blinder, Simo. He was outstanding.
Yeah, he was really good. Hey, like, it wasn't just obviously the try he scored, but just in general play, he was taking the line on. He wasn't sitting back and letting the game sort of come to him. He was getting after it. So, yeah, it was really good to see him bounce back and play the way he did.
Dare I say it's somewhat Supercoach friendly game, and I do not hate having it. I said this on the potty last week. As a hooker, with that sneaky little bit upside with that floor from the goal kicking, I think he's a pretty decent option the rest of season.
Yeah, he looks all right. I don't want to overstate it though, because I think what did he score? Is it a 72?
76.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I think he's going to be good. I just am a bit worried that the game he played, I sort of thought he might have scored more. Watching it in real life, I thought he was a lot better than maybe his Supercoach scores were. But as you said, like, the attack's going to come most weeks with him. He'll do one thing a week at least. If he gets that second attacking stat, then you're going to be happy enough. So, and at hooker, like, if you can get someone with upside, you're happy to take it, because at this point, gee, there's a lot of 40-point hookers out there. Your Reece Robson, Marshall Kings. He said Coruscant after 1 week, but yeah.
Coro, so on the screen there, Dom. Hello, sir. Thanks for tuning in. One of our regulars. Good call on that one. Start over Appy. Yeah, I'd start Sandon over Appy for now. Just wait till Coro might just be working his way back in after a sort of missing the first week with suspension. But I think there's enough of a floor upside combo against the Waz this week, mate, that I'm okay with Sandon over Appy. Todza?
Yeah, I don't mind it, mate. Don't mind it because, like we said, sort of Talon Silva's actually been pretty good when he came on and taking it too many minutes.
Beautiful. Thanks, Dom. All right. Moving on forward. So just checking there, Naf White holding his starting position as is deserved. He's an FRF2 candidate and looking like he could be pretty decent there. Interested to see if the minutes stay decent with Lindsay back, but I think he's got Lindsay well covered at this stage of his career, Simo. Unless Lindsay's just started the year slow, Naf looks the goods to me.
Yeah, look, I've never been a huge Lindsay Collins supporter, and that's even maybe I'm just more critical on some of the Roosters players than most, but Lindsay's awesome at Origin. He really is awesome because he's an effort player. I'll give him that. Like, I can't begrudge him for that. But at club, he just does not play the same at club as he does for the Maroons. And he gets injured a lot more, concussed a lot more. I'm happy to say, White's got him covered.
I also want to discuss this back row, boys. So, with Nat Butcher still not back, from what I've now learned is some sort of stomach complaint of the very serious nature. So shout out to you there, Nat, whatever you're going through, mate. Sounds pretty rough. So with Siwa Wong on the edge, had a good week last week. He played a good game. Probably one of his better games, Simo, I'd like to think, just in terms of general play and ball handling, because we know that's been the big knock on him. He goes into 12 with Victor the Inflictor in 13. So for Victor, that's not what we want to see. For Siwa Wong, mate, is there a sneaky 80-minute back rower here that could be at least a 3?
Yeah, I think for the short-term future, yes. I think it'll be pretty decent. With the current team that they've named, I imagine it'll go pretty well for Wong. Radley will still play pretty good minutes at lock, potentially 70-plus minutes at lock. But as you sort of alluded to, like, it's not great for his Supercoach game, Radley, because he becomes a lot more of that distributor. Doesn't have as many hit-ups. It's good for the Roosters. It's just not good for Radley. But in terms of Wong, he's well worth a pickup. We just don't know what will happen when all the troops end up coming back. But the fact that he's there now and Robinson's moved Radley to accommodate him is definitely a good thing. So I'd be picking him up, and because if he plays well, he'll probably keep the spot.
That's my whole thinking, that this is the time to strike Simo with a really low-end claim if he's out there, because I don't think it'll take much. There is a chance, mate. They wanted him to come through. They've been waiting for a while. He got the run, over the last year and a half, and he didn't take it, did he? Like, he was dropping the ball in really bad situations out of his own end. And I think that he looks talented to me. So I hope this is the start of like a really breakout season for him. All right, over to the Broncos versus the Cowboys. Now, it's only early doors, but incredibly concerning signs for my draft darling this year, the one I said to target early in Reece Walsh. I'm not sure what the hell that was, but his lack of involvement was really confusing, given especially the Bronx needed to come back. Todza, can you give me something here, mate? Because I'm honestly very confused by that.
I've got no idea. It was a very awful game from Reece Walsh. Made plenty of mistakes. It seemed like he was over trying his hand when he did get the ball, but he wasn't injecting himself enough. And when he did, it was awful. So I don't know. I want to chalk it down to one of those nights. I think he's the type of player that can have those. I saw at the Warriors, he had those nights where he just tried to do too much or just wasn't in the games. He had those games. So I reckon there's a huge bounce back here. And in your league, if the Reece Walsh owner is looking to trade him, I would be happy to go out and try and get him.
That's mate, you're bloody on tonight. That's exactly the question I was going to ask you, because I think this could be, I've been saying, hang on, just to confirm that, check out this commentary. It goes all right. So, that's a such a...
Oh, that's a funny one. Who's that bloke? Holy.
Oh, dear. I absolutely think that is a red hot chance for two. If you've got this in your league, if someone who is really a Broncos hater, of which there are so many, even in Queensland, they've drafted Walsh on potential or listening to this idiot, right? There's a chance they're just like, like I lost by 2 points because of Walsh this week, and my team otherwise ran really well, right? That hurt badly. I'm not, because I believe in the talent, but I reckon, mate, have a dip, listeners. There's a red hot chance that owner's really pissed off right now. So take advantage of that, and I'm with you, Todd. Surely an outlier, but I tell you what, it does present a scary flaw.
Yeah.
The big one to discuss, boys, and I am going to just put you on the spot here and just ask you for a plays or dropped. Katoni Staggs will be back in this week. You see him loitering on the extended. It's just the Bronx are going to want him back in there. Actually, say the name for me. Who is the centre that he is paired with, Todza? Go.
He is paired with Dean Mariner.
Simo?
He is paired with Shibasaki.
Surely not.
Mariner was the one, pretty much one of the only Bronx who actually played outstanding against the Raiders. He was really good again. I think you're right, Simo, though. Despite this outstanding performance, Madge will want to prove himself and what he did in the preseason and stick to it. Probably for 1 week, if I can be perfectly honest. I think it's a 1 week and done. If Dean Mariner is dropped, go and trade for him. I'm telling you, he is actually a really good football player and SuperCoach friendly. So I think you're right, though, Simo.
Madge is too stubborn, I reckon.
He is. He absolutely is. And he'll somehow say, oh, Mariner defensively didn't bring it, or some crap. I don't know. But, geez, he played well, by the way, in a shit side on the weekend.
You know what would be really crap, though, is if he does that. But then the Broncos still towel the Cowboys up anyway.
Well, yeah.
And it's like, imagine if they win by 30. Yep. It's like, is Madge justified in his crap decision? It's like...
Definitely not. But he'll get away with it.
Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. But, yeah. I really want to be wrong.
Shibasaki revenge game. Sorry, listeners. Composure. Shibasaki revenge game as well there, Simo. I'm sure that's a big part of the narrative, mate.
Oh, we love a revenge game.
Jesse Arthurs, credit to you, Simo. You were quite keen to tout your advice to the listeners. Good thing is, I listened to you, mate, for a change, and I got on Jesse Arthurs in waivers last week. And thank you, mother, for the rabbits. The hat trick, and that first try he scored, like, is he actually good at football now? What happened?
Here we go.
What?
Here's the about face. Oh, Jesse Arthurs.
I mean, if you listen back to the footage last week, one of the three of us was really against him. I was more in the middle, I'm going to say. Tonza may have said some colourful words. That was a legit try that was way more than a winger's try. I'm actually a big fan now. He's my favourite player. Jersey coming.
A jersey and a 14 this week. How good?
How good, yeah. If someone's really just sipping the Kool-Aid and you think you can trade for someone who's started slowly, I don't hate that call either, personally. But he could be that CTW that just randomly averages 65, and Simo, you called it from last week, mate. So, Jack Kazeski let some owners down. Hopefully you didn't get on. But Todza, I will give you some love. You did mention one that I also got on. Jordan Ricky played pretty well in a beaten side again and scored well for Supercoach. When is the flop game coming for Jordan Ricky, mate?
Well, it's the one they're going to win this week, so probably this week. No, look, he's looking really good. Really, really good. So I'm happy to be a big Jordan Ricky fan, obviously.
And Dom just coming in hot with an opinion we all share. Is Piakura the worst player 2025 season? Why is he on the bench? Dom, statistically, he is right now in the NRL, mate. So for anyone who's taken even 60 seconds of game time. So awesome. He'll has to come in for Kazeski, though. Kazeski, no good.
He's trash, hey.
Not going to last. Kobe Hetherington kind of lived up to why we weren't that keen to play him. There's just not enough going forward. Over to the Cowboys. So we have got Robert Darby in there for his. Is it his debut, Simo? I think it is, right? He's a young fellow who's come in. Yes, I don't think he's played before, has he?
Yeah, it'll be his debut for sure.
Any interest here against the Bronx, mate, or do you think this is a Bronx special?
I predict the Bronx will really put a number on the Cows, so I wouldn't be looking to play Darby. But if you think the Cowboys will sort of bounce back, he's definitely got the position we want, which is right wing. Drinkwater, that's sort of Drinkwater's favourite edge. So I'm okay with him as a bench sort of pickup or stash free agent. But yeah, I'm not looking to play him this week against the Bronx because I just don't think it's going to go too well for the Cows.
Good one. On the subject of buy lows, that I think is an interesting one, I'm going to put Scotty Drinkwater up there. And I'm going to ask, if you were the Tommy Turbo owner, given Tommy Turbo's apparent name this week, I think is just he's not playing this week. We know that. We've seen this many, many times already. If you were Turbo and you were offered Drinkwater right now that we know Drinky is goal kicking, with the drop of Duffy, Drinky, if Cowboys even remotely can get it together, there's a pretty big average to wait, but it won't be Turbo. Todzer, would you take that right now?
No, I wouldn't. Plain and simple. I can't trust the Cowboys. I know he gets the king, and I said it pre-season. I said it round one. I'll say it again this week. I just cannot see how the Cowboys score more than 3 tries a game. So the kicking is like a little bit fancy, but I would just prefer Tommy Turbo's, 16 games this year, and hopefully can score 100 any week. I don't think Scott Drinkwater has too many hundreds in him this year.
Okay. Yep. Simo, just yay or nay to Todd's opinion.
Yeah, I agree with it in a nutshell. Maybe not with quite as much conviction because I see the point of your question. There's parts of me that agree with it, but then there's also parts where I'm also with Todd big. Like full credit to Todd because he was against the Cowboys very vocally for the whole block season, and he's been proven right. Drinkwater would be such a bigger buy low if he didn't get junk time stats at the end of both games so far. Like and owners would know this. Like he would have been, I think week 1 he was on like 10 or something with 15 to go. Ended up scoring a try, and then same last week, just snuck a few junk time points at the end. So look, if there's ever a junk time player, Drinkwater is it because he just keeps playing to the 80th minute. And
like Walker and Latrell, where they're absolutely bashing aside and they've got a thirst for more points. That's when they'll big.
That's what you did there.
I think Drinkwater still is potential at buy low, but you'll have to give up a decent amount if that makes sense. It's more just if you like him better rest of season than other good options, he could be gettable right now. Because I think the Cowboys can't be worse. And to be honest, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Duffy was a deer in the headlights, which is a real shame. Hopefully he comes back after some time in reserve grade and looks like he's got it. But they could look better with Clifford. I can't believe. Oh, I feel so dirty.
Sorry. I think Duffy's been scapegoated 2 games into his career. I understand he's younger, but man, the whole entire Cowboys were dog shit. That's
agreed.
How's he ever going to experience in that team?
I hear you, mate. I think it was he just looked he looked a bit deer in headlights. I don't even say that to be super critical. He's a young player at a team that's getting pumped.
I get it. If you think Jay Clifford's the solution here, Todd Payton, you are so wrong. It's not
there's so much I could say on Todd Payton, honestly.
He's
with the team he's got, he cannot be rolling out a four forward bench, essentially, which he has done the first couple of weeks. Like having Carl Lawton, Cohen Hess, Griffin Neem, and someone else, like Harrison Edwards, I think it was. Like, you just having a guy like Braden Burns last week, everyone knows, like injury prone, does his hamstrings. How you don't have a bench back to cover that, and your very best option is to play Sam McIntyre at centre for the majority of the game.
Yeah, wow.
This shouldn't be shocking to anyone. Like, it's
no, I mean, McIntyre could deputise at hooker. He's been all right there before. But I hear, mate, I was chatting to a few mates on the weekend, and I think he's the absolute raging off favourite to be the first coach sacked. I can't imagine who else, because Flanagan's still new enough, not a great roster. Riles is new enough, that's not going to happen. Benji's in an emerging team that's probably going to be a little bit better. O'Brien might have, he's got his shit. Isn't he the obvious one? Am I missing someone?
Yeah. He definitely is.
Yeah.
Andrew Webster would really have to. The Warriors would have to really
stink back.
And they would. Yeah. They look like they seem to be okay now. But other thing too, we haven't even mentioned Ruben Cotter. Ruben Cotter's strength is the fact that he can go all game. He's not an impact player. You play Ruben Cotter for 70, 75 minutes, even 80, because he can just go and go and go and just maintain consistent high-level production over a long period of time. You don't play him for 30, bring him back for the last 20 and expect that to be a good thing, because you're playing these guys off the bench, these Cohen Hesses of the world, for way too long. I just don't think he's doing the right thing by the Cowboys. I get it with Taumalolo when he is fit or whatever. Obviously, he's not in the prime anymore, but Taumalolo is that impact player. You give him a rest, get him back on there, rip in, go hard. Ruben Cotter, he just needs to be playing 65 minutes a game.
I was going to say 65 minutes Payne Haas style. Let him get momentum. Let him get in the grind of the game and hurt some folks and run hard. And I'm with you, Simo. And I love. That's why he's an Origin player, mate, because he does that high motor with his. He's not a big size guy either. So I'm with you.
Billy Slater plays him for 80 minutes at Origin. He plays 80 at Origin and goes back to the Cowboys and plays fucking 55 minutes.
That's
mate. I don't get it. The team's not good enough to have Origin level players not playing big minutes for the Cows.
I love that this has actually evoked this passion in you, Simo. Just anti-Cowboys, and I want to keep on you then, mate. So the rest of this team then, not looking too flash. So Taumalolo, can't start him. It'll be a low-minute role. He'll just start the game. If not, he might even pull back to the bench and play 35 minutes. He's not startable. Johnny Bateman shuffling around and not really someone, even if his Supercoach scores are okay, it's just a very limited upside for me. Kai O'Donnell and Nane, are going to butcher each other's minutes, so rough little spot there. Hopefully Nane finds his way back to the left-hand side, Simo, where he can...
Right-hand side, but yeah.
Apologies, mate. Right-hand side and actually be effective where he is a rep player. Might be an idea as well. So we're pretty much a red light on all of them, aren't we?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Todza, one of your teams has to be coming up here, mate. It isn't in this one, so I'll just stick with Simo for the rest of the potty. Sharks versus the Bunnies.
Oh, yeah. That's one of my teams.
I've got...
Dragon's on a bye this week.
Why have we even got him on here, listeners? Honestly,
Yeah.
like, is there a bigger fan of the Dragons and Wars than this man?
There's not.
There isn't. A very boring podcast to present here for the Sharkies again. All these players are owned. If Stone Street was someone that you had as the maybe, even though I think last week you would have greenlit him as well, you start him and you start everyone else. Kyle, Iro, both of you were heavily on him preseason. Holy dooly, did he look like the real deal.
What a player.
That's how you announce, and they're the best center combo in the league right now. I don't think it's particularly close either. They're damaging from the back. They're great in attack. They love to not pass to their wingers. Like, they are the real deal.
Yeah. What's Kyle Iro's heritage? Is he Kiwi? Surely he's close.
Yeah.
Who's his dad, Simo?
Yeah, he played. He played.
Kiwis,
Was that Toddy?
Did he play for the Kiwis?
Yeah.
Iro's dad? Yes, boy.
Yep. Now, the big one, listeners, that is flip-flopped a fair bit is with Hines now kicking. Now, that was the big news across the fantasy landscape. That changes the narrative completely on Nico Hines. Now, yes, Trindle is still taking a lot of the attack, but that floor now has come up in a side that is going to kick a ton of goals, possibly in matchups like this one. So, geez, we were talking about, Hines being faded over some other guys. Doesn't it quickly show how the landscape can change, lads? I'm not sure he kicked all that fantastically well. One bad miss that I can remember, but geez, Todd's, I mean, he keeps it probably.
Yeah, well, I heard Fitzy talk about week one had a bit of a groin strain or one of those. So getting the bat, that's huge for Nico Hines owners. And look at that, in the space of a week, he's gone from, oh no, this could be a season where I've taken Nico too high and, sometimes number 2, sometimes number 1, sometimes 3. And he might just be the guy that you drafted now, so which is really good for him. And it's good for the game too. I love seeing Nico succeed.
Fantastic. And for listeners, we've actually we've got 13 live listeners here, boys. So just for those who've just joined us, check out that post. It's a bit of a ride, that.
Get the comments.
Get the comments. Do you agree? Don't
see how you can disagree, to be honest.
Great to have you along, listeners. If anyone has any live questions they'd like about their teams or anything else, or just to comment on just how hot the Siaxi Miantiot is down there, then please reach out, listeners. All right. So there's really nothing on the Sharks side other than our faith in Teague Wilton being restored. Borderline second to RF. He is a very good football player.
Yeah.
To the Bunnies. Now, the biggest signing news of the year, Makiali Ravalawa to come in at some point on the wing and probably be better than any of us think he will be. So I'm okay with him being a free agent pickup in the chance that he even comes in. This South, at some point, they're going to be attacking quite well, and they've actually won their first 2 games. Not sure how the Dragons botched that. Lachlan Ilias. Did you watch him? Because I think that's what Flanagan said to the media when asked if he was any good. Wow. Wow.
Launch your player under the bus.
Yeah,
wow.
Ilias. There's a main street with multiple buses, and they're just going to drive all over the top of you.
Wouldn't
and
say
then
that
try to
about his number 6, would he?
No, he wouldn't. He's number 6. What an outstanding performance. Actually, he's been okay. Lachlan Ilias has not been flash, it's fair to say. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Todd's favourite team. Ravalawa, free agent pickup, probably comes in. But the rest of this side, there's a couple of things to look at here with your boy, Lockie Hubner, or the Pornhub.
Pornhubner, I heard.
Pornhubner.
Can't claim it, but it was used and I enjoyed it a lot.
It is a good one.
That's really good.
Oh, you were there last week.
He wasn't there. Yeah, Pornhubner.
Pornhubner, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, free. Pornhub, if you're listening, we'll take a sponsorship as well.
Just
just a free subscription.
Bloody expensive. No, I'm joking. Dude, anyway.
No, I like a bit of red tube myself. All right, female listeners out there, equal opportunity and all that. All right, so Tallis Duncan comes in for the Pornhubner this week. It probably is playable for a few weeks here, boys, because 65 minutes in a lock roll for Tallis Duncan's been good. Is it waiverable, though, with only a couple of weeks for the Pornhubner, Todd?
Yeah, 2 weeks here for Pornhubner. Look, I mean, Tallis Duncan is such a talent. if you need that mad upside this week, I honestly reckon that Duncan is sort of that later kind of waiver that I would have a massive stab at because he is so good. We've seen it All-Stars. We've seen it a bit last year. I wouldn't be spending up my 1 or my 2. Probably not even top 5. But, like, if you need it, like, he's got every chance of being absolutely unreal this week.
He does, Todd. And I also think, again, with Jai Arrow getting injured in-game, like, who'd have thunk it? Just is his MO. But it's only one injury away from Duncan getting sizable minutes at any of the positions again, and we've said that for a while. So it is hard to stash people, especially like that at the start of the year, but the payoff could be there. So I'm with you, mate, on a low-end claim there. I've just got a question here live from our man, Commando Conrad. Thank you for tuning in again, sir, and great to see a comment other than how Todd looks. So, g'day, gents. For Q's later, I'm going to bring it up now. So is Talangi droppable for Toya, Nicholson, etc., or worth hanging on to? Simo, have at it, please, sir.
Depends what you need in your team. Like if you're desperate for a 2RF or a CTW this week that you just have to get someone to start for you, then I think you probably have to. But in a nutshell, if they're just bench players for you, I'd probably rather just hold on to Blaze. They're all very similar level players, though. I think like Toya's got upside, Nicholson does too. Obviously, so does Blaze, but I think Blaze has just got that little bit extra over the course of the season. So I'd be okay to hold on to Blaze unless I really had to, start a CTW, for example, then I'd go Toya. But, yeah, it's a pretty good question, actually.
It's a ripper, and I think Todd's I'm not a fan of it for Nicholson myself, and we'll talk about him a bit later on. For Robert Toya, I think that is probably a pull-the-trigger moment. And I know that seems like you're dropping a good one. Yeah,
I agree. You think you are dropping a good one, and there's every chance Langy comes in the next couple of weeks. But, I mean, what I've seen from Robert Toya in the first 2 games, they got better last week. He looked pretty good. The week before, he tore it up. Look, I would be dropping him for Toya.
Yeah. Great question, mate. Thanks for tuning in again, sir. All right, back to it. So we've talked about Tallis Duncan. Peter Marmazoulis, I said it in after the week 1 that there was enough minutes there that potentially he could be playable, and he's gone out and whacked a 90, albeit with a line break try, but he actually played pretty well. He's playable again. I think the minutes are so good in a season where hookers are really rough. It's just going to be a lowish floor, but I just get a feeling he'll run just enough to get closer to a 50-55 average and be decent enough. So that's the only reason I wanted to bring him up. Jamie Humphreys, the hot boy to end all hot boys. There is dead set water cooler chat in offices about that dude, and it is insane, and I don't blame them. So
you need to stop bringing him up at the water cooler, mate. That's unbelievable.
He's just on podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That comment gets all that again. How good? Keep it going. No, I love Jamie Humphreys. He's unreal. Quadzilla, I'm calling him.
Quadzilla, he is in good nick. Only run second to the Todd Mount. All right, on to the Dolphins v. the Tigers at KO Stadium. Todd, are you getting out there this week, old son?
What am I? I'm trying to think what I'm doing Saturday. 5:30 on Saturday. Actually, I might even get there. I'd love to see Dream the Dream in action. I might even, yes, I'm with you. Yes, I might go.
I would have loved to join you, mate, but I'll be at Robina for the first time this year, the first of many, if you haven't heard it, folks. Love to be at Robina.
Didn't know that, so it's nice.
Excellent. All right, so the Dolphins, they will most likely welcome back Finafuiaki. I think if he was dropped, boys, I think he's a low-end waiver claim. I think he's underrated in this Dolphins side. I think he looked very good week 1 before going off. With Lemuelu injured, I think there's a chance the minutes are a lot better than the Cowboys. No, I can't imagine too many complaints, boys.
Not at all.
Beautiful. Aside from that, I think it's pretty much as you go. With Jackie Bostock back from his early season injury, who I think all of us had pretty comfortably as a 4 CTW on the left-hand side there. I don't hate the left winger for the Finns. They seem to just get theirs for whatever reason. Is Bostock going to score enough tries, Todd, to be viable for you?
Yeah, I think he will. Katoa's looking really good. Katoa loves to go left as well and play that out ball. So I actually do like Jackie Bostock, and I think if he's out there, I'll be spending a low-end claim on him to get him just as a 4 CT dub, and if get him as free agent, you'll be stoked as well.
I like him, mate. I think he's a really good fourth, fifth rotate, especially when Finns play at home. Good shout. Now, on to your boy, and I'm going to stick with you, mate, because you are a big Finns fan, being a resident, and you love a bit of Katoa. Have we seen that little bit of ascension into SuperCoach startability? It's mighty close.
It is very close. I really like what he's doing at the moment. Playing really controlling that team, and then you saw on the weekend, like just stood up and did it himself when he needed to. Really like what he's doing. It's again, this is one of those wait and see kind of moments for me, though. We've seen it before where he's had a bit of upside and then he's just sort of gone missing. I've got this feeling that it's not going to be happening this year as much, but again, like it always feels with Katoa that he's every chance of just being 1 year away. It's tough, but what a performance on the weekend against the Knights, when the team was getting absolutely flogged.
Given, and this will be for listeners out there, let us know in the chat if this is you, but a lot that have been stung by Mitch Moses and with the news that he might be out even to round 9. I bring up a Katoa to think should be pretty gettable in trades. I think that's fair to say. I hope people aren't hanging on so much that he's not gettable. He's an option. Like, I'm a Moses owner and I look at Katoa and I think, geez, if he just, some of us, I was relying on Duffy, for example. He's now gone. I've got to look for something. I think that's an okay get, Simo. Like, if you were really just cracking at something that could be just enough to get you over, I don't mind it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people out there that own Katoa who picked him up just to see what's going to happen. See if this is the year that he breaks out like Toddy was talking about. Like, yeah, there's a good chance that you can just offer those sort of teams just something that can help them in a different spot. And you should be able to get him relatively cheaply. In saying that, like, I own him in one other league, and he's like just my sole halfback. And a lot of people have already jumped on him as like their one halfback if they've been really, really needy at the position. Because, well, let's be honest, pre-season, if you're going to go zero halfback, he's a guy you'd love to have on your bench because we know that potential's there. We could be wrong. It could be this year. So there are a lot of teams out there that are the opposite of the situation I said, where they picked him up and they're happy to roll him out these couple of weeks now that he showed something. So it's just going to be league specific for sure. Obviously, like in the leagues where I've got him there as my only halfback, well, I'm not listening for trade offers really, but you really need to be in a league where they picked him up as a bench guy. If that's the case, floating offer out, you should be able to get him relatively cheaply just for a additional CTW or a 2RF or something.
You'd think so, mate. Like, even if you were the one that got Matty Nicholson on waivers, a strategy could be to try and trade him on straight away, for example. That could be the kind of one that gets it over the line. So, Good strats, boys. Over to the Tigers. Now, I'm going to just say at least was encouraged by my preseason prediction that attack with their spine was going to be okay. And maybe have a shot at, winning back that coveted 9th position that they had on lock for so many years. I think between 9th and 12 is a red-hot chance. I liked what I saw. It did go the way we thought, boys, is that Luai might be the odd man out when they're really firing, and it's going to be Galvin. Oh, boy. Please play like that for SuperCoach every week. Just be in everything. Bula looked tidy as they come, and obviously Coro with some silky touches in the middle to keep it humming. So there's a chance that the Tigers aren't an absolute SuperCoach dumpster fire rest of year. Jarrell Skelton, absolute beast. Taruva, I love seeing him celebrate with those tries, boys. So is he really earned, based off that performance where he was in everything, has he earned 4 CTW every week status, or is he still a 4th, 5th flex, Todd?
I still think he's in that 4th, 5th flex, but I do like even just playing him this week up against the Dolphins. I think it's going to be sort of matchup dependent against those top sides, the Sharks, Storm, Penrith. I wouldn't want to be playing him. Like, I really wouldn't want to be. I'd rather have him as my 5th option. But like this week, I would be greenlighting everybody from 1 through 5. I thought Stafford Toll was unbelievable.
He had a good game, mate.
I think he's a guy that you can get as a late waiver and be really happy rest of season. Hey, like, honestly, he's unbelievable. Yeah. Really enjoyed what Luai did, even though he didn't score, SuperCoach wise, and we are a SuperCoach podcast. He's got the team running around really well. I actually really enjoyed watching the Tigers on the weekend.
They were great, mate. And people were calling it the spoon bowl after the start, and I think what people forget is that is their first proper hit out with that spine. Like, they're allowed to have half a football to get clicking. Once they got that confidence, mate, they were humming. They look fantastic.
I thought Royce Hunt off the bench came on and just
actually great, wasn't he?
Like unreal. 12 made every tackle possible. Like Samuel Alfano, you can see the absolute trajectory for him over the next few years. Like, he had some real slick hands. Yeah, sick hands.
Yeah,
and then the guy you have to talk about, mate, Tyrrell May. What a king. Oh, man. He is unbelievable.
Yeah. The Panthers, they don't get much wrong. And, it's hard to say in hindsight that they, with all the May brothers and obviously getting in trouble and all this sort of stuff. But I tell you what, if they end up with Taylor in that side somewhere, which they'll have to make room for him because he is outrageously talented, the Tigers could be going places. It's exciting. It is exciting. Terrell May, was absolutely fantastic. That's really all there is to talk about that side. It's actually going to be a little bit settled because of how well they went. So I'll move forward. Now, for those who are unaware, I will be gracing the mighty Rabina this weekend. So I'm just gassing up. I can't wait. I can't bloody wait to get down for this game to see Ponga in the flesh. He will be. We don't talk about captains much, but I'll be whacking it on him in the old classic to try and finish 70,000 overall. So I can't wait. Can't wait. This game should be crazy open. If in the dry, Simo, surely we are looking at points galore here, mate.
Where have you heard this before? Us spruiking points at Rabina. Very good. Yeah, look, this is it, mate. Like, whatever the overs are, jump on.
It has to, mate. If there is less than 46 points in this game, I'll be so disappointed. Like, I've seen on this like Saturday evening stuff. I remember watching the Storm score nearly a point a minute down there. It's just there's something about that track that just results in tries. You and I have been to games there, mate. It just flows. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's good open footy on the coast there, and this should be no different. Like Super Saturday, daytime footy, it's just a recipe for it. And the teams themselves, like you got a Knights team that's missing like the crux of their forwards. You got Adam Elliott back in there, playing at 13. Obviously, you got Frizzell still, and you look across at the Titans who still have shown that they will let in points as well. So. Yeah, this has got attack written all over it. It should be a good game of footy.
It does. So easy one for listeners there. I think you are able to greenlight everyone from 7 down on the Titans. I'll throw Tony Francis in just because it is an open game, and I think he's, got a bit, potentially a bit about him there. I even thought Jojo looked pretty good on the weekend. I'm happy to greenlight them. I think the Knights the same. I'd say 6 down. Fletcher Sharp, boys. Okay, so you can play pretty much every spine position bar hooker.
Yeah.
It seems.
Well, until he gets himself a wee kicking game and gets a little bit craftier with the hands and the ball playing, he's going to be unbelievable because he's pretty much just playing fullback right now, sniffing around the ruck, being everywhere. The way the Knights are playing right now, you add Dylan Brown into that next year, they're going to be lethal in attack, dude. Caleb Ponga has got his boys going pretty well. And people are talking, Dylan Brown's a 5'8". I don't give a shit. Caleb Ponga's team, it's Caleb Ponga's team. Dylan Brown's going to add to that.
It's Fletcher Sharp's ability to just always be looking for little bits of space, pockets of space, is very rare. You don't see, a lot of players look like they almost take a play off. He's like Lockie Galvin's more of a complete half right now. I'm not going to say that he's Lockie Galvin yet, but all Fletcher Sharp does is get the ball and goes, where's that gap, and accelerate. And I love it. It's like Pappen before Touchwood, all the injuries. Like Pappen obviously is a more mature player now. He's sensible with it. I love it, mate. So he, if we were drafting again today, it'd be pretty scary to think where Fletcher Sharp would go. It'd be early. It wouldn't be much longer than round 3, I wouldn't think. Yeah. Back into 3.
CTW eligible too. Be crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't go that high, but yeah.
You get my point, Sumo, though.
I think
he's not going.
Round 3 should be crazy.
Yeah. All right, boys. So in terms then of pickups, Jay Safe had an injury which kind of robbed owners. Brodie Jones with 2RF eligibility only coming into the Pigs. Real life, I actually don't mind it, but you can't start him because he's 2RF eligible, so that's not going to work. Adam Elliott is the one, boys. He's averaged pretty much 55 year on year when he plays lock. I think he's an okay plug and play. Pierce Paul's out for quite a while. I think he's out for a good few weeks with a suspension.
Two.
Is it only two, Simo? My apologies. I thought it was
But
slightly
they got the
longer.
bye next week.
Oh, of course. Yes. Right. So it's actually three back. Elliott's okay. Look, free agent pickup, plug and play, very low in claim if you're needy for any reason. But he won't be super high on anyone's list. Over to the Titans, rest of their forward pack. I think it pretty much went exactly the way as we thought it would, with Mofot, RCG, the other Pumas. I won't even go there because I normally just call him Tino, his brother. And Brock Gray actually looked good off the bench as well. Actually enjoyed watching him smash with his family and friends up in the top corner. None of them emerged, did they, Tots? Like, you couldn't start any of those.
Nah, not really. You can't trust any of those guys. Even Cleese Haas, like, I don't know. It's not for me anyways. Didn't score crazy good. Fifi comes on for him. Like, the only guys here you can sort of really rely on is Tino and Bo Firma.
Yeah, Bo Firma looked fantastic. Very good play for especially CT Dubs.
How good did Tino Fa'asuamaleaui look? Like, he looked like he hadn't missed a step. Did he even have an ACL? Like, that's unbelievable.
He looked hungry. He looked ready.
Yeah.
He blew up a bit, and they had to rest him probably more than he's used to. But tell you what, he's going to be an absolute steal, given where he probably went on draft day.
Probably.
He was awesome.
He's crazy good.
Now, Fifi Darling, we will bring up. Simo, you are an owner in our league of record.
So
He
sorry
looked
for you,
unders.
Simo.
He looks completely unders, but he's done this before. I think he's an easy buy low. I think he's a crazy easy buy low for me.
Geez, I hope you're right, because it just seems like this is reeking of Des Hasler fuckery for a while, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shit situation. Like, I just don't see. I mean, this is the same old story with Fafita. Like, I don't know how many times we've said on the podcast how he doesn't just auto 80 minutes every week. And, like, they can say it was, because he didn't have a preseason, he had surgery, whatever. But, like, he started in the trials. Like, he started games in the trials. It's like, week one, fair enough. But this week, I just don't see how. Yeah, he better be building up minutes, is all I can say.
I think he is, and I think this is time to pounce, listeners. If people are doubting, he'll get back to his 70-plus average. It's coming. He's going to have big upside games. I think he's one of the better buy lows of the week. And he's one of those buy lows I'd always be confident that until it doesn't happen, like, do we really think this is a Jason Taumalolo where Jason just suddenly went bang and he wasn't elite anymore? I don't think this is the time in Fifi's career. I think he'll get it back.
Like, it's not a talent issue, though. That's the thing. Like, the talent of Fafita is still clearly there. It's just, what will his role be? Do we trust Des Hasler to give him an 80-minute edge spot back? In the next however many weeks.
I do, and I'm going to say, Desi, you might be right, Simo. There could be a risk, but I think watching Fifi play pretty closely on the weekend, he was gassing pretty early, man. Like, he did not look that fit. So
in saying that, though, like, they were getting flogged in that first half. They were really down and, like, didn't bring him on at all. Like, it's just weird. Like, even if he can only get on for the last 20 of a half, gets his 10-minute break at halftime, comes back on and plays, 10, gets a spell, comes back on the last 20. That's sure. If that's happening, so be it. But, like, to have him off for the whole first half when you're down and you're getting overrun, and Cleese Haas is missing tackles after tackles after tackles. Like, I just feel like Desi is overthinking it, dude.
Yeah, it could be.
You've got one of the best back rowers in the whole entire game. If he's gassed after 30, take him off. But he's giving you every chance in that 30 minutes to score tries and win and get ahead. They were behind it. I messaged Simo and I was like, this is unbelievable. He's not on. Like, it's so stupid.
When it got to 22-10, like, the Titans scored a couple of quick tries and got back in it, he should have been on there straight away. Yeah. But instead, they waited till the second half, and then the Bulldogs scored early second half and made it 28-10, and the game was over by the time he got on there.
When Matt Burton goes down, that should be time to pounce, dude. Let's just run at that hole with D. Fifi. Simple.
And is the telling sign in support of what you're saying versus my confidence that he'll bounce back? I mean, he's not playing on his preferred left-hand side. Bo Firma's got that position. He ain't moving.
True.
So
That doesn't worry me
maybe
as much, to be honest. Like the side of the field, I think is a bit overrated with Fafita. Like I'm happy for Fafita to be on the right with Campbell. Like I don't think it's not a big right side, left side thing. It's just more. It's just minutes. Let's be honest. Like
I'm going historical again. So you could be right on either side of this, Simo. Could be wrong on one or the other. In terms of what I believe his preferred is, it is the left, right? That's, to my knowledge, is where he's played most of his career. I don't know if that's something that he has as a preference. It's just what he's done. So curious, very curious how it plays out. Do you buy low, listeners? I'd love to know in the chat or even in any of the comments, is that what you would do? Would you buy low, or do you think this is a dud season from Fifi and sell him while you can? Very curious with that one. Question in the chat there from Captain Rivalry. Thank you again for tuning in, sir. So Captain Rivalry asks, Jesse Ramian or Christian Tuipulotu season-long play? I'll go to you, Todd Mount.
Yeah, that's Ramian for me easily. I think get overhyped with Tuipulotu's first 2 weeks and how good he was. For me, I'd take the Sharks and the Ramian. Like Ramian looks unreal, and he's just gonna be so solid for you.
Simo?
Yeah, it's Ramian as well. Like I can't stand Christian Tuipulotu.
What about to make the run of your money?
The one-time Rooster, he's got him bitter.
And that was before the bloody stupid celebration. I'll tell you.
Actually,
down
love
by
it.
20, making it rain, baby.
Yeah, make it rain, baby.
I'll tell you what was really
God.
good. On the weekend, I did love, because usually like this guy I'm about to talk about is notorious for this sort of shit. But like he's up there doing the cash money, and then Cody Walker comes over and just gets right in Tuipulotu's face and just gives him. Like you can just tell Cody was just dropping F-bombs, C-bombs, giving it to him. And it was bloody brilliant.
Biggest Cody Walker fan out there is Simo. Very good, mate. Very good. Captain Rivalry, thank you for the question, mate. I think it's a lot closer than you would have otherwise thought, but you want these CT dubs in your good teams. They're going to score. But look, Christian Tuipulotu, mind you, is still easily a start until he proves otherwise. So,
Yes, sir.
Good shout. Thank you, sir. All right. Over to the Eels versus the suddenly heavily depleted Bulldogs. Wow, that has gone spectacularly badly. I would argue their two best players are now down in Billy Kickow. I mean, he was playing out of his mind to start the year. Like, say what you want about him being consistent. He was on the ball. Some of the best kick chase pressure you'll ever see, to be honest, for a big man. He was in everything. They are honestly in a really rough spot here. I'll get to Cal's commentary in a moment. It's a rough spot, and it actually means these Eels could have a better week. I want to try and paint that somewhat positively. Is there any chance? Is there any hope? Do we see Zach Lomax's name to play on a wing? No, we don't.
Have you seen the number 7 this week?
I want to know your thoughts of Dean Hawkins. I am surprised to see him in an NRL jersey, I've got to say. So, can anyone frame me a market here for 4 tries for Parramatta? Can we get 4?
4? Well, they let in 4. I reckon it's overs.
So not too confident. You think Dean Hawkins isn't quite going to get the job done, mate?
No, I don't think so, mate. I mean, when's he ever got the job done? Honestly, that team looked atrocious last week. They looked terrible the first week. They looked horrid last week. I just think that the systems that Ciro has, the Dogs working in, until he comes into the back row for Kickow, that's a massive amount of experience. Yeah, Bailey Hayward comes in and they're going to miss Matty Burton, but I think Toby Sexton's been doing a good job. But just the experience that they have out there with Critter, with even Reed, Marnie, Max King was huge last week. Like I just think they'll be fine, and they'll miss Matt Burton, but there's no way Parry get over them. Like not a chance. Will Penasini will let in about 700 tries. He was awful last week.
He did.
I'm surprised he's named, to be honest. Like he was that bad.
He's attacking pretty well.
That Russell and Penasini side is so short.
Oh, boy,
robbed by not passing to Russell. Robbed me of another monstrous multi that I could have won. So that's still. I'm well down on the Penasini. Look, I think Critter possibly because he'll goal kick and he's a pretty good goal kicker. Maybe has a floor argument here. Probably for CT Dub, thinking he might also hit a bit upside. Maybe. Don't want to go too hard.
I'd say there's better options. This critter hasn't really shown any Supercoach pedigree of late. Real life, honestly, one of the best players. But yeah, 4 CT Dub's probably a stretch, I think, for me.
Having a rip, mate. Would you start Wilson or I'm not going to mention the other guy. I'm not going to do it. But Wilson, could you throw him in there? Jerry.
Yeah. Every chance Wilson gets over for a meat pie, I reckon.
Probably. I'm just going to go to some of the commentary. So our man, Captain Rivalry, says, cheers. Thank you, sir. Cal has chimed in. I enjoy this one. I'll be resigned to stubbornly holding Fifi till he starts. But if I didn't own, I'd be trying a buy low on him for sure. Good on you, Cal. That's it, mate. That side of the argument. The next here, Captain Rivalry. I've already sent a trade offer to the Fifi owner. Love your work, mate. That's beautiful, actually. He gets it. All right. To the Eels then. So obviously we're not going to get excited about Dean Hawkins. The Fox is loitering on the extended bench. What a turn in fortune for the Fox. He's gone Tigers to Dogs thinking, or Storm briefly. Enjoyed that. Then he's like...
Briefly, just his whole career.
Briefly?
His whole career. Hey, what's my order? Storm, and then he goes Dogs, and now he's back to a team that is odds on for last, right? Absolutely odds on. So it's full circle with the Tigers.
Yeah.
It's rough chat. That is like, wow. Imagine how excited you'd be to get a ball from Dean Hawkins out there.
Is he a free agent stash anyway, the Fox?
Probably. He's never been good for floor anyway. He needs tries.
No floor. He needs tries, but surely he offers them something.
Probably. I don't know. No, I'm going to say no.
He'll come back on the Lomax side, so probably not.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that down as a no. It's pretty much a red light. Like you're gonna start your Lomax. Yongi is startable, and Dylan Brown, and Hopgood, who, geez, he's gonna need a lot of offloads to be relevant, isn't he?
That's the thing. Like Riles is they're a team that was built on offloads. Junior Paulo, Ryan Madison, Hopgood, Sean Lane, like their whole team was just offload city for a couple of years there. And now Riles has come in and tried to make them play a bit more structured, and it's just terrible. It's like you're better off when you got issues in your halves like they do with Moses not there. Yeah. You see with a lot of these teams, like you have to start playing a bit more Abu footy to try and create second phase. So that's how you're going to get your points. So yeah, Hopgood's going to start offloading a fair bit, I think.
Agreed. Really, yeah, that's it for that. And then we are on to the final, game of the round. If you are the DCE or Turbo owner, that has not gone well for you, given they're in the last game of the round. I would place someone over Turbo. I would just find a fullback. I cannot trust that he's playing this week. Manly have bad form in this area, boys. They will play him when he's nearly injured, and then he'll badly get injured. We've seen this. How many of these seasons now? At least 3 of the 5, they've done this, and it's not worked. DCE is the harder one. You feel like you want to wait and hang on to see if he plays, but you're not going to have a pivot, obviously, with Fogarty already owned. What do you do, Simo?
See, if I own DCE, I would I'm happy to just risk it because
yeah, I'm the same.
You know, it's a back. It appears as though, from all reports, it's just been like a one-off, like the spasms, whatever. He seems to have recovered pretty fine. Obviously, his scans were good. DCE, I'm okay. I'll just risk it for the biscuit. And I'd love to try and set up my bench to have someone playing in that game that I could drop if I had to for whoever comes in. But yeah, Turbo's obviously a lot harder. It helps if you own. It helps if you can get Cooler, or if you can try and trade for KO Weeks because he's going to be very gettable. Or you probably pick him up off free agents after this week. A lot of people are moving off him, so there are more options for Turbo.
You know, if you had Hopper, Simo, that could be, we recommended preseason. That should have been a pretty automatic handcuff. So you can obviously wait for a pivot there and just throw in either the Manly back that will come in, or even potentially a Tamale if you picked him up off waivers, or will pick him up off waivers, I should say.
Yeah, obviously Hopper's ideal because he's a very good start in his own right. But it's one of those ones like it's not as if there isn't options, because we've seen this happen before where it's been really bad. But at least Manly and Canberra, there are enough players there that you could look at or could trade for that are gettable. That's the only silver lining, I guess.
Okay. That's really it for Manly. Like, we're not... I mean, the Burbo experiment, we talked about it last week, Sumo. I don't know. I don't know when this Supercoach upside's coming, mate. We're not seeing it. Todzer and I. Is that chapter closed? Do you still think there's progression here that he could be startable in his career?
Look, it's only like... It's early days still in terms of him playing 80 on an edge. Like he's gotten injured pretty much. Whenever we've said this before, he's gotten injured. And I'd love to just see him not get injured for another 4 or 5 weeks. Give him that continuity at the position and see what happens.
I love it, mate. You are staunch on Burbo. Todzer absolutely wrote him off last week, and I did not offer much resistance. That's why he's giggling.
I gave it to him. I said, get out of here. Although he didn't miss a tackle on the weekend, apparently. So there you go.
I don't know what you guys have got so against Burbo. Like, the bloke's gotten injured almost every time. Like, he just needs to stay on the field.
I think it was the commentary that said he was potentially the best of the Trebojevic brothers that was said rather loudly, which hasn't really looked particularly accurate. I think that was maybe what it is. It's a bit of the, he hasn't really even gone close to the accomplishments of either two. But yes, as you said, Simo has been injured. Hopefully I see you starting him if we're versing each other, mate. That's all I'll say.
It's not his fault that people write stupid shit in the media, is it? Like,
yeah, true.
Give the bloke a crack.
Jeez, I tell you what, have a dip at Burbo and Simo will just come in swinging. I love it. He's like death taxes at the defense of Burbo by Simo. I love it. I'm here for it.
It's just that it's like you just start writing him off after he has 2 bad games.
Yeah. Todzer, has Simo delivered exactly what we hoped you would after we spoke last week? Couldn't be happy with you. Right? That is peak for listeners long term. The bigger fan you will not find. All right.
Dude, I feel like I'm starting Burbo on my CT dubs this week, just because I feel like he's about to have a mods up.
There's no chance I'm picking him up and playing him.
There's no chance of picking him up. All Burner what roster spot, but yet better defend him.
That's saying something if you could see Simon's roster, holy.
You're a piece of work.
Here he is. It's taken how long? An hour 12.
Listen, if you didn't know, I gave Simo this weekend an absolute. How's your father?
I was going to leave it as a grand reveal, but that's all right, Todd. How about we speak about it now, old son? So what did you do in a 14-team league where flex is included in our league of record? What did you post, Todd?
We're not a 14-team league, are we?
14-player, 10-team league.
14-player, 10-teamer. Yes, mate. Simo and I honestly battled out one of the greatest matchups of all time. I just took the bickies at the end there, but I put up a score of 1,017. But Simo, in the second, no captains. Simo put up a respectable 958 as a second highest score of the round, and unfortunately, cops a 60-point flogging from the mighty Toddy Lloyd, baby. Get it up, yeah.
We do have bonus points in our league, listeners. We're in our league off system in our own because we think that for matchups like that, Simo deserves a point clearly for being second. So the top 5 scorers in a 10-team league get an extra point. So
he scored 105 more than the next best, the third score. 105 points more. It's unbelievable.
Pretty crazy stuff. So we will get to a question very soon from Alexander Downey. Welcome, sir. The Raiders.
Bringing that up, Toddy. Now I'm Alexander Downey.
That's a bit clever for this podcast.
That's very good.
Yes, mate. So on the up, though, are the mighty Raiders after really giving it to the Broncos on the weekend. Tamale, The hot tamale. He is a hot property in fantasy circles, and the hot tamale is a name I'm going to enjoy saying. He has, in fact, as you boys both predicted, he has kept Albert Hopewadi rightfully out of the side, as he should. He's looked
He was terrible,
fantastic.
Hopper.
Yeah, Hopper, that was that too, Simo. Just didn't look good. So with Tamale, like that's his spot. I have to think, unless Raiders start struggling. But they're at home. When they play at home, he's going to be very startable as well. Is he third or fourth CTW sort of level there, Todd?
I don't think he's a third. He's showing he's got tremendous tackle breaking skills. He goes looking for work, which is nice. He does have a few errors in him, but like I think he's going to be a solid 3.
Yep. Simo, 3 or 4 for you?
Yeah, I like him. I think he's a 3. Yeah, everything Todd said, it's fair enough, I feel. Yeah. Only knock on him is like, I just don't know if we can fully trust the Raiders wingers to hit a lot of tries week in, week out. In a perfect world, the Raiders are very forward dominant, and geez, they were dominant on the weekend.
Oh,
without Tarpany. Like that's like what an upset. They were paying 4-1 against the Bronx and got done without Tarpany. That's incredible.
I said to one of my mates, I was like, I couldn't believe how good Canberra were in the forwards. And
outstanding.
If you'd said that they could do that, like that's one thing, but to do it without Tarpany, you wouldn't think it's on the cards. Like the Broncos, those periphery players of the Bronx, the Kobe Hetheringtons, the Gashevskis, the Chipperstakis, like it was so clear that the Broncos were out of that game so early. The Raiders were just all over them.
Boys,
Corey Horsburgh, just like honestly, he just took those boys on his back and said, I'm just going to give it as hard as possible to Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan. And that just bet them up. And fair enough to Haas and Carrigan, they stayed in the game. But, man, and Hardy Young, what a dog he is, eh? Like, he just loves it.
Like, Todza, imagine having Terrell May and Corey Horsburgh in your front row, mate. That's what you want right there. Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you want to name the rest of my roster, mate? Because
I don't. Just those two, mate. So there's a couple of really good questions in the chat that are relevant to this. So Alexander, I will get to you in a moment, mate, as a bit of one of the good wrap-up questions about waivers. But just relevant to this Raiders team is the question from Cal here, and that is, what to do with Hosking? He's gone down again, which is really sad because he is a very talented footballer, super coach, and real life. 4 to 6 weeks is a frustrating hold for someone that might have lost his starting edge role. It's crazy to say that with his talent, but obviously the track record of Ricky's not good for these. So who knows, boys? Honestly, who knows? I'll bring it up, and I'm going to bring up the Matty Nicholson, how high a waiver claim given he exploded off the mark week just gone. He's had a lot of hype coming in as well. Boy, did he deliver. Twofold question, Simo. Hosking hold, yes or no? And how high is Nicholson?
It's an interesting one because I've got a bit of a controversial take on Hosking, which I'm not pleased to share, but I fear a lot for Hosking's role. Like, I think Cal's hit on it here, kind of answering his question, saying fearing he might have lost the starting edge role. Like, we've seen Hosking get injured last year, and when he came back, played off the bench and played in the middle. I'm really worried as a Hosking owner that Nicholson locks down this right, and then they bring Hosking back and just bring him on as a middle. Because he played 13 this week, just gone, essentially.
That's true.
I know Tarpany's not playing, so maybe Ricky doesn't love that rotation, but yeah, if I owned Hosking, like, I'd be going hard for Nicholson on waivers, no doubt about it. No matter what claim I was, even if I was number one, I'd spend it.
Really?
Because I want to be locking down Raiders right edge. I'd get it.
Yep.
For people that don't own Hosking, though, I'm not massive on Nicholson, even though I think he has the chance to lock down the spot. I would probably peg him as like a mid-tier claim because he's not a 1, 2, or 3 because I just don't feel like he's that slam dunk that we like to see because obviously Hosking could come back and really stuff around with him. Yeah. So I'm not super keen on spending like a mega high, but middle-tier claim I'm perfectly okay with. The only way I'd go outside of that middle-tier claim is if I owned Hosking, just to lock it down.
or if you're really needy at 2RF for whatever reason, you just haven't had one of those options you went for pan out. You know, we talk about, if listeners have been with us for many years, thank you for following us over the time. There's always those early season darlings that just emerge, that just sneak up on you. That can be, you know, for this example, what if he becomes an 80-minute edge back row for the Raiders, Simo? Like, it could easily be this guy. We know he's got talent. We know he's been hyped. And what a way to announce yourself on the stage in an upset victory. So I feel like you're going to be on that side of it.
Yes and no. Like a crazy good way to, you know, enter and come into the league, come from the Super League. But I'm kind of with Simo here, whereas it's every chance that, like, you know, Broken Hand comes back in 4 to 6 and takes over that role, and Nicholson comes off the bench as well. So, like I already said earlier on the show, Dane Laurie is my easy number one, because I think that could be really, really beneficial for you, and especially if you're the Turbo owner, you know, Dylan Edwards owner, of course. You know, that's for me. Nicholson, yeah, I'm probably with Simo around that, you know, mid-tier kind of claim. Just in the fact that he could easily lose that spot when Hoskins comes back, because Hoskins looked unreal. Like, he looked really good, and it really sucks for him.
It does.
Yeah, but look, I'm excited about, you know, watching this game and seeing what the Raiders can do, you know, third week in a row. Can they stay up for it? Coming up against a Manly side that'll be pretty hurt after last week and looking to bounce back.
Yeah. The big thing with the Raiders, sorry, mate. The big thing with the Raiders is with Ricky, it's like it's just wins and losses. So, look, over these next few weeks, Canberra. So obviously they've got Manly this week. They've got Cowboys away the week after, into the Sharks at home, which is obviously tough. Then they've got the Eels away. So they could potentially win 3 out of 4. They could win 2 out of 4, obviously, as well as Manly and the Sharks both beat them. But God forbid, if they happen to knock off the Sharks, which is a tall ask, but if they do, after beating the Cowboys away, which we assume they will, and the Eels at home, which we assume they will, if they happen to beat the Sharks, then I'd be super worried about if I was Hosking owner, because I'd be like, look, they're winning. Ricky settled on the team. We know that he loves to just leave it as it is when they're winning games. So, yeah, that factors into it as well for me, which it doesn't help a lot of people, but it just, if you think they're going to win or lose those games, might change your opinion a little bit or affect your decision a little bit.
So to Cal's question, hold is a definite from all three of us for Hosking, because if he comes back to 80-minute edge roll, he is very good for Supercoach. Minimum a second 2RF. I'm a little harder than you two boys. I'm okay with him being potentially the lottery 2RF pick of the season. I'm not going to say that I think he definitely is, just that there is a chance, but even based on what both Simo and Todd said, that if he wins an 80-minute roll, you've absolutely crushed it, right? I think that's the go, but at worst, a mid-level claim. The other Raider that has to be discussed, and Simo, this is really a you and me one, mate. We've been on Starling every year forever. The year that he's finally looks like he's off to the Raiders, the Bunnies next year, it's the hot male, he has exploded and looks as good a player as you and I have pretty much been saying. And we're not the only ones, of course, for like the last 5 years. Sometimes fantasy just comes up and just says, what the hell? This is that guy. He is going to be fun to own this year, mate.
I'm both happy and sad because we've been on him for so long. It's like I feel like we deserve to reap the rewards. I literally own him in 0 leagues this year.
Me too, mate. I'm gonna buy him in Classic and just watch it because at least I can enjoy it apart. But I honestly don't really care. So it's like, it sucks,
it's
mate.
Cruel.
We've been on him.
It's so cruel.
He's great. There's no reason he won't keep hitting some version of upside because that's the type of Supercoach player he is. And with 65 minutes looking absolutely guaranteed, with even a slight peak every now and again, he's going to average minimum 55, possibly higher. So, bloody hell. Enjoy. If people out there still aren't believers and are worried about Owen Paddy or whatever, I don't really think that's an issue. I think he's going to be a lock for a top 10. Any disagreement, boys?
None whatsoever, mate.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up. We've got one question on X. I'll just field it now because it is around Starling. Pretty easy one. It's from Kero.
G'day, Kero.
I love that we're on YouTube now, and that happens every week. I'll chuck it in there, Edford. Hello, Kero. We actually see each other and we still talk over each other.
G'day, Kara.
Brilliant. Is Starling worth a
G'day,
pick up
Kara.
off waivers? Currently has Watson and Hooker, but could use him in the back row.
Oh, that is the perfect scenario. Get on it, old son.
Solid. Love it.
Number one claim, even over Dane Laurie in that scenario, in my opinion.
Fair.
G'day, Kero.
G'day, Kero. All right, to a question. Alexander, thank you for your patience, mate. Hey, lads, love the potty. Thank you, mate. Love the kind words. In an 8-man league, which CTW to bench out of Hero, Lucas, Alamotti, Cobo, and To'o? Don't listen to these unprofessional bastards, mate. We got you here on the potty. We are the best draft experts. Fire away,
Clear
Tom.
one there for me. A clear one there for me, mate. For Alexander, it's definitely Alamotti this week. Up against the Storm, Dylan Lucas, Aero being so solid, Cobo and To'o. Like it's an easy one, Alamotti for me.
I think so. Alamotti versus To'o is probably, strangely enough, the only one you look at there, because the other three, I think, are pretty much starts at this point, given their starts of the year. Simo, are you the same, mate? Alamotti bench?
Yep. Yeah, I'd bench Alamotti, but I agree with you. It's between To'o and Alamotti. I would just imagine that there's more chance that To'o happens to be on the end of one, whereas Alamotti, as a centre, it's not quite as easy all the time. Obviously, when you score more tries, so go with To'o, bench Paul Alamotti.
Good stuff. All right, this is beautiful. Loving this live question segment throughout. Thank you, listeners. They were our matchups, boys. Morgan Smithies, if you want that solid sort of like 45 to 55, is probably going to keep bringing it. Cal, pardon me, with some very kind words. Cheer, boys. Love the analysis. Good on you, champion. Love your work. Any other questions there,
Cal.
Simo? G'day, Cal. So you're catching on, mate. You're catching on.
That was it. Just the one.
It. Beautiful. Thank you to that. Thanks, Caro. Todza, anything from the Book of Face?
I do have a couple from the Book of Face. Just reading through here. It's from Dom. I think he was in the chat earlier, the big dog. He said top 3 2RFs that may be on waivers this week. Context, he's struggling because he drafted Fifi and IPAP.
I missed the question.
Cal. That's good stuff. Keep that up.
Cal's on tonight.
Probably Matty Nicholson's probably up there for us boys in terms of the waivers. 2RFs.
Sorry, I did not listen to your question at all.
Buddy, Cal.
So Matty Nicholson.
So top 3 options at 2RF for the waivers. Context, he's struggling with D, Fifi, and IPAP.
So just better give him a couple other options here, boys. Yeah. So Matty Nicholson, Burbo with a bullet. Do you know one we didn't mention, lads, that I'm going to make sure we bring up? If Satili Tupanua is out there because people were like, he's from the bench, he's an easy high-end waiver claim for me with Kikau out for at least sort of 3 to 5. I think he's a phenomenal pickup for now, especially the Kikau owner, but also in the situation if Fifi is not playable right now.
I'd go Siwa Wong over him, though.
Yes, on the potential that it's a rest of season spot, Simo. I like that too. So that's 3 really good ones.
Nice.
That's good.
Very, very good from you too. Holy. Second question from our boy Anthony Mason.
No.
Yeah, you dogs. You absolute dogs. You know what? I might even...
love the potty, Toddy.
He does say, hey, Toddy, love the potty. He says...
Love you, mate, so.
Cool. Over-unders on paralleling. I knew it was coming, and I'm not happy about it. Anyways.
Doesn't it piss you off, mate? Doesn't it piss you off?
Overs-unders on paralleling DB, Dylan Brown, joined the Knights early this year as the Eels dumpster fire heats up. And if so, how many points per week would that improve or worsen his SuperCoach output if he was to get released early?
I don't think so, because with Moses coming back in 9, they'll want to wait to see what they have and hope
they could be 0-9 by then. They're done.
If they're 0-9, it does put it in an interesting spot. I don't know if there's any room in the cap, to be perfectly frank, for a move this year.
Because he's already got 900 this year. Hey, like...
I don't think it works.
Yeah.
I think with Hastings and Brayley on the books, still on the books in particular, I mean, if Raiders want to pick up Brayley early, they're welcome to it. That might
your
help.
boy Tommy Starling's gone.
As a non-Starling owner, mate, and really caring about this beautiful jersey, mate, bring him on this year. If we get Dylan Brown with still Leo Thompson, we are a red-hot chance top 4. I'll say it.
True. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, if they come back 0-9, it would be hilarious for the Eels just to pine them. It'd be so
it would increase Dylan Brown's.
Huge.
Oh, yeah, it'd be nuts.
Huge.
Dylan Brown's arguably one of the biggest must-sell players at SuperCoach right now, at least in my opinion. Like, I would just be selling, if I could sell him for any of the 5/8s that were sort of spooked as like top 5 options. Obviously, he was like top 2. I'd be selling him probably, yeah. I still want 2 for 1, but if you can still get top 5/8 value, I'd be okay to do it. I'm not big on Dylan Brown rest of season.
I don't think you can. Simo's looking at those names. The only one is Burton. If you're prepared to stash Burton now, you probably could get that trade through. I would, even with Burton's injury now.
Yeah.
That's good race.
I mean, you're probably not going to get it, but if you can trade Dylan Brown for Galvin straight up, I'd do it.
No, you wouldn't.
There's no chance.
Not off Galvin last week with the Tigers looking good.
That's what I mean. Like, if you could, you're probably not going to, but yeah. I'd still at least ask.
Metcalf.
All right, boys.
Metcalf plus. We have to be a decent
plus.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it straight up. I mean, it could still be right. That's not to say it's necessarily wrong.
Well, I think it is right, yeah. But
it probably is. But just keep in mind when Moses does come back, if they aren't 0-9, there is a chance that the combination of those two at least gets him back closer to a 60-65 average again, which he pretty much has done. The problem is, though, that forward pack still sucks. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions from the Book of Face, Todd?
Mate, that is all we have for the Book of Face. Thanks to Mason.
There is one more that I should have answered last week but I wasn't here. It was, I can't remember who it was from, but it was on someone on Twitter was asking who are our.
Fucking hell. The well is certainly dry. Holy dooly.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
Who are your most drafted players across all your leagues?
Oh, good nudge.
Dean Mariner.
Jeez, I think I am a Corey Horsburgh owner in 2 leagues. I think
Well, you guys think because I've had a bit longer to sort of digest this one. I think I'm in 5 leagues, and I have somehow drafted Jeremy Marshall-King in 4 of them.
And not that excited about the early season.
It was one league he got to round 6. I was like, yeah, I didn't even know, I didn't know I was high on Jeremy Marshall-King, and clearly it's worked out to be not that good. But
he doesn't look great, Simo, for some reason. He looks, I don't know, I could be wrong here, but he looks slighter through the build. He doesn't look as bulky as, like, I'm not saying he's a big guy, but he just doesn't look like he's ready to play 80 minutes right now.
Yeah, he doesn't quite look up to it. Metcalf's a big one for me. I own him in a lot of leagues. Alamotti in a lot, and the last one, Kale Hero. I own him every league I could. I got Kale Hero, so they're probably my main ones.
Nice. Just looking at my leagues here. I got Horsburgh in 2 leagues. I got Tyrrell May in 2 leagues. I've got Jaden Campbell in 2 leagues as well. So out of the leagues that I played, those are sort of guys that link up a little bit.
Payne Haas, loved his value in most drafts. Definitely Dean Mariner again is like my sort of very late one, and then I've just spread the love pretty much. A couple of Matty Burtons as well, so that's obviously hurt, and I hate that he's not going to be playing.
Should I be saying Latrell Mitchell here, boys? Thanks for listening, League Auto Draft.
All right, it's been great bringing the podcast to you, listeners. Fantastic. All right, boys, quick mention to the Listener League. Todza, if you don't mind giving us a quick wrap, old son.
Mate, I will do that. I wish I had done that earlier. You know what? I'll just do it right up on the page. But just coming in the Listener League right then and there, trade has gone through. So I will go through it, Matt.
Todza, come in.
It's coming in. I'm down here on the sideline. Look, Dane Laurie and Robert Toya have been traded from Shred to Kevin Baconators for Valentine Holmes.
That's a beautiful. I love it. That's fun.
Yeah,
Bravo. On a bye this week as well. Laurie getting the that's nice. I like it.
Yes, so that's just
Cool.
what came through literally 1 second ago. I don't have the list of the league pulled up, but I'll do it right up, and you'll be able to catch it on the page.
Just live reaction though. That's a bloody good trade. Like,
love it.
You can see why both sides would do that. So.
Beautiful. Well, I like that idea, Todd. Your write up after week 1 was brilliant, mate. So if you've got the capacity to do that for the listeners, that'll be great. Yours truly, riding high in a 2-0 record. At least it can happen in one league. You gotta love it. All right, listeners. Absolutely fantastic. We got a fair few numbers online tonight, nearly hit the 20 live listeners. We keep growing each week. Please, listeners, if you can, like and subscribe. That would help us greatly to keep trying to boost the profile of the potty. We want to bring some great draft content to you guys, and it does help with obviously the fees for some of the software we use, obviously the prizes and what have you. We'd love to keep growing the brand. So any support you can give us would be awesome. Hopefully there was a bit better video quality tonight. I'm quietly confident we've delivered on that, which would be nice.
Unfortunately for the listeners, yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm beautiful. Look at this haircut that needs to be
I heard
soon.
there was a comment early on that said that I was a good-looking bloke. So.
For anyone that missed it, there's tickets on himself. That's been mighty good. Simo, we'll have to make sure we join up. Look, absolutely awesome potty tonight. Toddy, good from you, sir.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, mate. You are indeed the sexy man of this podcast, old son. Simo, bringing a sort of some professionalism, but even you ducked into the silly side tonight, mate. Love your work.
Mate, we all, enjoy your board games, mate. We hope you do well.
I'm too tired for board games tonight, old son. It might be barbecuing alone. It's about as good as I got.
Holy.
All right, listeners, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And as always, get that BDE India. Oh, yeah.